My hope is to sort of intercept a young founder who's starting out, who is full of ideas and full of hope of what they can create. And that's awesome. There's no better place to be. But to be aware that there are pitfalls, particularly that come with hubris, pride. When you start seeing a little bit of success and it goes to your head and you start to think, I'm the person who did this. I'm the reason this happened. So if there was a way that I could just put up the warning signs ahead of time, and you know what? Success is a sucky teacher. It's funny that we're talking about the failings of my life, but quite frankly, that's how I learned the value of what we're talking about today. When you go through successful moments, you don't really learn a lot from it. It's like you talked about being at your deathbed and having those inflection points. Like, that's a hard thing. Hard things force us to stop and then take account, or they should.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're numbing out.
So maybe this is a good call for if you're listening, you're on the front end of that journey, let's say, and maybe not as many mistakes or whatever, to just check yourself, and say, well, it could happen to me, because nobody draws a line from where they are to a ditch and says, that's where I'm going, right? Nobody thinks it'll happen to them. So I think cutting the hubris of youth with saying, hey, it could happen to you, and it probably will in some way. Or if you're like where we are in kind of middle of the journey, let's say, hopefully we've learned from some of those things. And even if we're on the later side of that curve, it's never too late to make changes and to reflect and learn. And I guess I would set up the rest of this book as reflection is one of the overriding kind of principles or practices. That the book itself is that. So I'm hoping it does that for more people.
I think that's a good wish. And I think just to add to it, whatever you're doing really well can also become what really comes back to haunt you and bite you. Success and fast growth, as we would describe it. As good as that is, as aspirational as that is for every founder, it's a double-edged sword. One of the things that I've come to learn is that most founders don't starve from lack of opportunity. They choke on biting off more than they can chew. They actually just lean in too hard. They think they can do too much. And quite frankly, that becomes the piece that actually sabotages their business plan. It becomes the flanking maneuver that comes along. I think it's important that people understand that there are flanks in your business and that you need to be mindful. And how do you constantly reinvest and reinvent those so that you can shore them up from preventing those kind of things from hitting you?